Einstein said brilliantly, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it is stupid. What schools, what education should be in a natural order world is not how do we get children to be what we want them to be, but how do we get the best and the potential out of every child in their unique sense and unique self. That's what education should be. But like I say, we live in an inversion, and so we get the opposite of that. What we get is this. Have you noticed how they say, these politicians, about education, we must prepare children for the workplace. In other words, we must prepare unique expressions of all that is, has been, and ever can be to be a cog in a fricking machine for the rest of their bloody life. The system should fit us. We should not fit the system. So, J.D. Rockefeller, creator of the General Education Board in 1903, he said, I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers. Exactly. It's what the education system's about. It's a sausage machine programming system. And this study here, I won't go into it for time, but what this study showed is the longer that children are at school, there's a massive decline in creativity as children have become less emotionally expressive, less energetic, less talkative and verbally expressive, less humorous, less imaginative, less unconventional, less lively and passionate, less perceptive, less apt to connect seemingly irrelevant things, dots, less synthesizing, and less likely to see things from a different angle. It's a program. And this is what is taught to children at school. What school teaches children: truth comes from authority, intelligence is the ability to remember and repeat, accurate memory and repetition are rewarded, non-compliance is punished, conform intellectually and socially. That's what it's about. And the very bloody fact that vast numbers of young people have been through this shit and they've come out awakened to the fact that they're not being told the truth is a wonderful example of the power of consciousness over program. People are mad. And talking of mad, 2-year-olds should start school, shed Ofsted teeth. What it should say is 2-year-olds should start school, says 2-year-old Ofsted chief. Bloody idiot. But what did Richard Day say to that doctors' convention in 1969? Schools will become the hub of the community. In other words, they will take more and more and more power from parents, which is exactly what's happening. Another thing he said, children will spend longer at school but learn less. That's the idea. State schools should offer 12-hour days to boost performance of poor students, says Department for Education. Preparing kids for the brave new world. And what they do is they lock people into the left side of the brain and they take them out of their individuality, their creativity, so they become cogs in the machine. For me, no child should go near school until the age of 6 or 7, and then school very, very different. They should play and they should let their imagination flow so their right brain is wide bloody open. There you go, the original PlayStation. Hey. And this bloke's going to have a few mentions in the next couple of hours, bloody hell. Bill Gates, he's involved in this thing in America called Common Core. Common Core, make everyone the bloody same. It's about imposing even more limitations on what we call learning and education and more programming. And it's kind of the way they do it. Here's an example. They're saying in this test, change the sentence in a certain way. And the way the sentence is changed is made to read in a way that programs perception. This one. A president's job is not easy. He makes sure the country's laws are fair. Government officials' commands must be obeyed by all. An individual's wants are less important than the nation's well-being. It's all putting this program. Now, I think an expert test taker would fill in the form something like this myself. And then we might get somewhere. Here's George Carlin. Here's a bumper sticker I'd like to see. We are proud parents of a child who has resisted his teacher's attempts to break his spirit and bend him to the will of his corporate masters. Thank you. Put that in the back window. I used to smoke pot and go to class, sneak in 10 minutes late with a bullshit excuse, slink down low behind at my desk, pray to God nobody asked me any questions. I was the best teacher ever. All right, there you go. And they're taking the piss now. What they're doing is putting people into a lifetime of debt to pay for their own frickin' programming. That's what they're doing. Look at these student bloody loans. You know, get into debt for the rest of your life, brackets control, and then you'll pay for your own bloody programming. Here you go, education. Be a good citizen, accept the program. Bollocks to that. Talking of programming, Archon Media. Control perception and you control reality. The media is owned by a tiny few corporations, which in the end are owned by the same network of families. And they're dictating and suppressing and dictating and emphasizing information and suppressing information that gives another view of reality. How to control what people think. Create or buy out major news agencies and TV channels. Only publish stories that promote your agenda. Maintain debate within a strictly limited range of views and subjects. Focus on traumatic events to keep the public traumatized and in fear. Label anyone who exposes your system and manipulation as a conspiracy theorist. And that's what they do all the bloody time. I tell you, conspiracy nuts. I love this one. For God's sake, Trevor, always you with that conspiracy stuff. I'm telling you, the man and the dog are definitely working together. And it just shows you how words, see what the media's doing, and most of them don't even realize they're bloody doing it, some do. They're telling you what you're looking at. So in Afghanistan, he's a terrorist. In Syria, he's a rebel, as long as he's not on Assad's side. In Iraq, he's a terrorist, and in Libya, he's a freedom fighter, right? They're all violent, bloody tossers. That's what they all are. And how you crop a picture. There's the picture, crop it, says one thing. Crop it, says another thing. Manipulating is so easy. And then you get this manufactured conflict, as if we've got media choice like we've got political choice. So in America, they've got this lady called Rachel Maddow of MSNBC, left, Democrat, liberal. And then you've got Bill O'Reilly, so far out, he's outside the building in the frickin' street, he is. And they argue with each other and they all that stuff. And they give you the impression, oh yeah, there's some political debate going on. But there has a common theme and there is a common denominator. All of them, when it comes to the fact that there's some kind of conspiracy going on, are absolutely in total unison that it's all madness, there can't be any conspiracies. Including these two, Jon Stewart and Bill Maher, who's supposed to be like politically incorrect and political kind of satirists. But when it ever comes to the fact that there's something strange going on and something is going on we're not being told and we should know about, they're united in the fact that all conspiracy researchers are crazy. So like Malcolm X said, if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. Don't we see that in this propaganda against the poor and people like that in our society? Let's hate them and let's love the people who are oppressing them. Exactly what he's talking about. And then we have peer pressure. You see, when you've been through this propaganda, when you've been through this programming system, then it would be bad if you just took the programming yourself and left other people. I said many years ago, you know, the human race laughs at sheep, but we out-sheep the sheep because at least the sheep need a frickin' sheepdog to keep each other in line. We keep each other in line. Ourselves, we don't need any bloody outside influence. So peer pressure says, if you're speaking outside the norm that we've been programmed to believe in, then we're going to give you a hard time. And people are fearful and they keep their heads down and their mouths shut because they fear what other people think of them. I can tell you from long experience, it doesn't fricking matter. Individuality. You laugh at me because